the role has shifted a little bit.
So what role does a teacher play today?
A teacher plays a role of, in a way, a person to inspire the child, to remove the webs of confusion that left unanswered, and to give it a direction. That is the role, I think, of a teacher.
Young people, do you think that we need to change our approach? Because you see, what we're also discussing is a fairly limited phenomenon in terms of how we see India and the diversity and the availability of opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely, because the young people don't want anybody to dictate to them anymore. But if you can make them see what's going on in their head and they are allowed to take the decision, I think they'll take the right decision.
Okay. And I think this bit about adults take better decisions and young people don't is totally a skewed concept anyway, you know.
And they're not open to that.
Right. But it's also a myth. And I think somewhere we also believe that because adults are in a position of power and being able to control and manipulate more resources, the decisions are more valid. And that, I think, is somewhere being challenged.
Yeah, but one thing is that adults do have more experience. You know, with age you gain experience. So they can give you a more mature advice. But the young people prefer if they think they are making the choice themselves. Okay. So you have to make them, bring them around in a way that they see what's wrong and then they take the right decision.
You know, equipping young people to make the right choices and then letting them know that it's your choice and you need to live with it for the rest of your life.
To equip them. And what I have found with Sahaja Yoga, they can feel the vibrations. Sahaja Yoga, you can feel the vibrations. You can ask, for instance, your vibrations, am I doing the right thing? You can put your hands like this and you can say, is this the right choice? If the vibrations are hot, it means no. If the vibrations are cool, it means yes.
Okay.
So,
but that's when this instrument is tuned to understand that.
So this is what the approach is, to fine-tune the instrument, which they themselves do. I mean, we don't do it for them. We just tell them how to do it. And then it's their choice. But when they do it, the groups that I've worked with, they've done it, they find that the vibratory awareness guides them, and it's coming, the vibrations they're feeling themselves. So it's something that they are more open to follow and conform to. So it's not a mental process.
All right. So that means actually there is a physical manifestation, and the whole bit about how we divide into the body, the mind and the spirit, these compartments actually have osmosis going on all the time.
Yes. Okay. And the vibrations penetrate everything, and eventually you feel them in your hands.
Okay.
Because the Kundalini exudes vibrations.
Okay.
So you can feel, like you say, I don't like the vibes of the person, or you can see, I don't like the vibes of this place, or you say, I like the vibes of this person. So you're already feeling everything.
All right.
So it's coming more and more evident than before.
Is it also a fair assumption that inanimate things also exude vibrations?
Everything in life exudes vibrations, animate and inanimate.
Okay. And vibrations are linked to life?
Vibrations are the DNA of the consciousness, of the living force. This whole cosmos is nothing but the dance of vibrations.
And it's so close to what is now being touted as one of the latest things in the last few years, the string theory.
Yeah, the string theory.
Okay, which is also based on vibrations.
So science and, you can say, inner search are coming very close. I wouldn't use the word spirituality because that can mean many things to many people.
Right.
But I say inner search are coming together, and they are speaking the same language now.
All right. So science and inner search.
Yeah.
Do you see a conflict between the two?
No, because science is searching outside the same thing, and inner search is searching the same thing within. So there is like, one is a reflection of the other. So the Western approach was to look outside. The inner approach, you can say the Oriental or the Indian approach was to look within. But for instance, the chakras within are nothing but the energy centers in the cosmos. And the energy of the Kundalini within is nothing but the reflection of the energy outside, which we call the Adi Shakti traditionally. So it comes back to the same theory that everything came out of energy. And that is what also Einstein talked about, that matter is convertible to energy. I mean, it's not different from it.
All right.
So we've come to the same, the circle, we've come back to the same point. So the circle is complete.
Right. We're going to go in for a short break now, Yogi-ji. When we come back, we'd want to understand more from you that you've seen this happen in practice. You've also written on how energy forms and how role models can be put in front of young people.
Yes.
To say this happens, this is true.
Yes.
You still have a choice whether you want to do it or not. Exactly. And of course a little more about your journey. But right now we take a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're still in conversation with Yogi Mahajan. Yogi, this talk about energy and the chakras and the common consciousness, which is deeply powerful.
Yes.
It's a huge tool, it's a huge resource at our disposal, and we're still discovering. In fact, it was there, we kind of lost it, and now we're working back into getting to know about it. You've seen this happen actually in the education system, and results have been there?
Yes, yes.
Can we talk about that?
We've seen that, for instance, children at the age of 7, they are so tuned in with the vibrations that they just go on knowing what's the right thing to do, A very simple thing, serving cold drinks to them like the aerated waters. So we said, all right, you check the vibrations of pure drinking water and the vibrations of the aerated water. And they found the vibrations of the drinking water was cooler, and cool vibrations mean positive.
Okay.
So just that, and the whole thing about Cokes and all these things, they were willing to part with. It was something which was very dear to their heart. But on vibrational levels, they took the decision. So, it helps to make your decision, because even when you say you have a free will and you have a freedom to choose, there has to be some benchmark by which you go. And this provides that.
Okay.
And you have to know that it's yours, because if you think it's coming from out of another person, then you're not receptible to it. So if you say, well, I have checked the vibration and I have felt this, and for me this is the right thing to do. For me is a very important word.
Right.
In today's vocabulary.
True. And I think also to know that if this is my reason, it could also be only for a season.
Exactly.
That means because that's my process of growth.
Absolutely.
I might be happy with it now.
Yes, yes.
And I might want to change, as long as I have the option to change.
Absolutely, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is fixed.
Right.
There's a movement, a constant movement.
Right.
Of energy. The vibrations are constantly changing.
Right. So this litmus test, or this little tool, and you've written extensively about it in Master Trick?
Yeah, Master's Trick.
Master's Trick, okay.
So the trick was for the person to feel everything with vibrations and not go with his mental concepts. You see, we have a lot of mental concepts about things, but concept is not reality. Where it's limited. The mental concept is limited to the brain, because the brain can only foresee so much and then not beyond it. For instance, you feel that you see the sky is covered by clouds, but you can't see that beyond that there is an open sky.
Right.
So the mental concept only goes with the senses, but the reality is beyond that. So vibrations go into the reality. So the master's trick is how to transcend the mental concepts by feeling vibrations, and then thereafter touch the reality.
This whole concept, Yogi-ji, of how we see reality with the limitations of our senses,
yes,
or the limitations of our physical body, and what really is the reality.
Reality is absolute, because if you take the Einstein view of reality, then he's talking of the mind. The mind is relative. The way you perceive things is relative to one person to the other. You perceive it one way, I perceive. But beyond that, there is a absolute reality, which is beyond our perception.
Okay.
So we are talking of that absolute reality, which is beyond the relative. The mind is relative, that's true. But the spirit is absolute.
Okay. So the reality is the spirit, is that what you're saying?
The reality is the spirit. For want of another word, people also can call it God, people can also call it the all-pervading power. But let's not get into any jargon of definitions.
Or semantics, which kind of just confuse the issue.
So just say that, it's an absolute force.
So is there a right and a wrong?
Definitely there is a right and a wrong. For instance, you have the cases of these jihadis cutting off the necks of the hostages. So can you justify that? The mind would like to believe that there is non-duality. But then what about this? How would you justify such a thing? Would you say they are right? So there has to be a right and there has to be a wrong.
So which is also an individual perception?
But is this an individual perception? The whole world has seen it.
Absolutely.
And for the whole world it is something wrong.
So if you move away from this, or even move to an action, even if you move to somebody who's hurt somebody physically, scaling it down a little, I think the way the mind works is also an illusion, which can also be a delusion. I think somewhere to say, because it's so easy to justify anything in the head, whether it's and bring in a sense of right and wrong. Because it is from this that, so one is how we judge things, and one is a sense of judgment that you pass a stricture.
But let us take
and modify your behavior accordingly.
But let us take the example of rapes that are happening every day.
Right.
Now, can you justify it?
Absolutely not.
And then a step further, there was this big controversy that one of these people was a juvenile, he was not an adult, so he should not be punished and all that. So can you find an excuse for him? What is wrong is wrong.
How do we get young people to say you need to choose a right or a wrong based and equip them with the skills, as you said earlier, because it's very well to talk about them, to say that you need to make these choices constantly.
Yes.
Because the outward pressure, whether it's the media, whether it's home pressure, whether it's peer group pressure, whether it's personal pressure to perform, that's always playing games.
Yeah, sure. So this is where you have to rely on vibrations.
Okay.
When the vibrations are cool, then that's the right thing to do. And if the vibrations are hot, then that's the wrong thing to do. So it's not so much a mental process of judging or evaluating. It's more a feeling process. Vibrations flow where there is compassion, where there is love. So they respond to the language of love, of collectivity, of collective consciousness. So to make it, to give you a more precise example, it may be good for me, but is it good for the whole society?
Okay. So how do I make my choices and decisions?
So you have to look at it from the collective point of view.
Okay. And I think that's a very valid point to say that when I'm seeing myself, so if this is my hand and my hand does something wrong, I'm not going to chop it because it's my hand. But if somebody else does something wrong, I'm happy to kind of just smack the hand.
Exactly.
So how do I see myself? Is it limited to my physical body, or am I seeing myself as a part of a larger whole?
Well, the larger picture is always the most important picture, because we are not this speck of the body. We are a larger body. And what hurts the larger body hurts us. Therefore, in every context, like I think one of the American presidents said, that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. So if we transcend our personal perspective into a collective perspective, then we have the right vision. and the right value system, and we can take the right decisions.
Okay.
And then we can all automatically transcend caste, color, religion, you know, all these things.
When the individual is a part of the collective,
yes,
there is an individual onus.
Of course.
And there's a collective onus.
Of course. The individual flower in a bouquet always has its fragrance, but it enhances the fragrance of the bouquet.
So you've written also extensively about courageous women.
Yes, yes.
Who have made a difference not only to their lives but to lives of the collective.
Yes.
Those beautiful flowers in some lovely bouquets.
Yes.
What have been some sterling qualities that you've come across?
The most important quality has been their sacrifice, a sense of sacrifice. You know, the history of India has been based on the foundation, on the bedrock of these great women who made such great sacrifices for their motherland, which was even beyond their sacrifice to their family or husband, or it was like the whole energy of the Shakti came in them to uplift mankind and give it a new value system. So that is why there is such a, you can say, serenity about Indian women. There is such a respect for Indian womanhood all over the world. Not only because she wears this beautiful sari as you're wearing, you know, which gives you so much grace, but also it gives you dignity of your spirit.
Okay.
You know, you are an emblem wherever you are. You are, you stand for something.
Yogi, today when we talk of values and we talk of tradition, there's a lot of depth, there's a lot of meaning. But I think somewhere the whole way that we use the term and how it is interpreted as jargons, and to say that tradition is and modernity don't go together. I feel that they have a strong link, and I think a lot of tradition is also very modern, because modernity is linked to relevance.
Absolutely.
So are we kind of not being able to balance the two in how we project it today?
Well, I think what it is that some people think of tradition as something very rigid. But actually, tradition means that which is always moving. One thing grows into another.
Organic.
It's organic.
Right.
It's organic. So a tradition that doesn't grow dies out.